I'd like to call the June 19th, 2025 Wall City Council meeting to order. Carolyn, would you please call roll?
Hoffman,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Houston,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Hawk,
Here.
Stan Anderson. Mike Anderson,
Here.
we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any order of business for emergencies?
No,
Do we have attendance on Zoom?
no,
Item number 6 is to adopt the agenda, but we have requests to amend the claims to include an invoice from AgAscend for $1,952.52. Would I have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. With that amendment, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, so Jerry moved and Mike seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a conflict of interest declared for this evening?
I'll be abstaining from item number 12.
Number 12, okay?
And I'll be abstaining from the city bills with the payment going to the ambulance. this time around.
Okay. All right, with those noted then, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th, 2025 city council meeting?
So moved.
Zach moved
Second.
and Mike seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. In your packet, this evening is the City of Wall, bills or claims. And with the addition of the Send Ag, that amount is $221,965.83. Noting that, we made the South Dakota housing loan payment this month. And then we've also, dispersed second half of 2025 budgets to the ambulance, fire department, and library. Some of those are the bigger budget items. Also, the fire department claims amount to $9,501.41. And the cemetery claim, $952.39. Does anyone have any questions or concerns on any of those requests for payments? Hearing or seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the City of Wall, Fire Department, and Cemetery claims?
So moved.
Mike moves
Second.
and Dan seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to agenda item 10, which is, first of all, to review the June 10th fire department meeting minutes. It was a delight to see that the roster is at 26. That sounds 2 people more from the last time that it was brought to our attention, so. Very
Still
good.
the only same 4 show up, so.
Keep working on that. Also included in claims is the sales tax and BBB. Harrison? Also is the budget, expense budget for the City of Wall, as well as the revenue budget report. And also included was the cash balances, a report that Carolyn has prepared for us that shows us our checking account money markets. Okay. With that also, 2 building permits, were inspected by Garrett and approved. One is for Rebecca Increase. And yes, to move in a storage shed at 500 Ferret Street. And also Stompin' Grounds, built a patio at 112 South Boulevard. And that inspection report is attached on. Does anyone have any comments or thoughts or about any of those items? Moving on, public comments. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council with an issue on or not on the agenda, but no action will be taken. You have 3 minutes to address that concern. Do we have any public comments this evening? Seeing none, that moves us on to the item 12, which is selling, number 12 is permits, and the discussion item is selling fireworks. And so Carolyn, can you bring us up to speed on this particular item?
So I was called and asked by Michael Ludeman about some fireworks on property south of town out on off Gulf Coast Road. I did forget about the one that was issued last year under a conditional use permit to Rachel Booman until she called me and asked about it. Our ordinance and a conditional use permit because her location is in a residential and it's a commercial business that she is selling them out of. Our ordinance does restrict 1 permit for every 2,000 population. I guess I would ask if you would, for this time, look at allowing for 2 to sell for this year. I do think we need to look at if either one wants to continue. One was issued under a conditional use permit in a residential area. I almost feel it's a better option to have them sold on commercial property rather than in a residential area under a conditional use permit. But I would not suggest you deny that at this close to the time of selling. And it's obviously your choice to do, but just wanted to explain the procedure and give you the information to make a decision.
So I just have a question. Are you at this, I mean, it's hard to tell, you haven't even sold any yet, but it isn't your guys' intent to do this just for the year and then not do it
We
no more?
want to keep doing. We want this to be like this, yeah,
Okay,
permanent business.
yeah, so your suggestion, Carolyn, then was the variance and do a 2-year?
To allow for 2 to sell this year,
So it'd be just for the year.
just for the year.
So that would mean,
So in your packet, I did share a letter. Rachel was not able to come. I did explain to her that I had, because this needs to be, unless you guys change it, but it should be renewed every year, the request to sell fireworks. Just so they make sure that all the paperwork's up to date and stuff. Hers was issued under a conditional use permit, which those are usually typically given in a 3-year time frame. And so that's kind of why I'd forgotten about it. But she does have a letter that I included in your packet. I don't know if you want me to read it or if you guys want to read it yourself.
so with that, are you suggesting that it go to a 3-year? Or because of
No.
this situation, it's to be annually?
Just with the way our permit is, without it being under a conditional use permit, it is to be renewed every year. But where hers was under the 3-year, she was under the assumption, and I can't deny it. When we do conditional use permits, it's typically for 3 years. I looked back in the minutes, it did not say that it would be approved for 3 years under the conditional use, but I've also we've also approved other conditional use permits and didn't state that it was for 3 years, so I don't think that's a fair statement either, so.
So if we do it this year, then just be specific that we would like it to be annually? If
Well,
it's a
and you're gonna have
conditional
to be-
use,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would not suggest that you continue with two to sell every year, but just for this year, I guess, since there is interest, and see what which works out better, I guess.
So you're actually asking for the variance
Just for this year, and then you guys will have,
allow 2 fireworks establishments in Wall. And this is, they can start selling fireworks when,
So June 27th through July 5th, so in state, out of state, you can technically sell year round,
June 27th to July.
July 5th.
and that's to the purchaser that's got out of state license, you can still sell to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you gonna sell year round?
To out of state resident, yeah, to out of state.
We won't sell.
We won't sell year round, but
We will sell during the fire, or before, is what our plan is. Not June 27th to July 5th, that's what our window is right now.
so I'm thinking we need, first of all, a motion to approve a variance to allow 2 establishments. And then approve the application for the fireworks permit from M&M Sales. Is that correct?
if that's what you so wish to do.
And that one, or we don't have to address that?
Well, I mean.
We
sure,
weren't
of course.
specific when
Yeah.
we told her, right?
Yeah, at any time, you can withdraw a conditional use permit from the 3-year time frame. It states that right in there if there's any complaints or anything, and I'm not advocating for people to complain about it. My opinion is that if there's a commercial property where you don't have to grant the conditional use for, it makes sense that that's where it would be located, but I'm not advocating.
Hmm.
I'm just commenting.
So is Rachel's commercial property or?
No, hers is residential, but under the conditional use permit, you've allowed her to have that business, just like a daycare, salons, any of those that you issue under a conditional use permit.
So I don't recall, but did she operate this out of her house then?
Or garage, I think,
Or
actually.
garage? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve a variance to allow 2 fireworks establishments, recognizing that Dan's indicated that he is going to abstain?
I make that motion.
Okay, Mike is removed.
Second.
And Zach seconded. Any other questions on approving a variance to allow 2 fireworks establishments in Wall
For one
year,
year.
2025, for 1 year? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm not voting, sorry.
It's
happened.
Opposed? Okay, so motion carried to approve the variance to allow 2. Okay, now we have in front of us an application for fireworks permit from M&M Sales to sell at 304 James Avenue.
So,
Understanding that there are no fireworks exploded within the city limits, even though it's a commercial property. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, and it wouldn't be allowed when Rachel was getting her permit either. And
No.
that's a separate ordinance. It
Yes,
just does not allow
But
it.
just a reminder as we move forward with this. Okay, so Mike, you move to approve the M&M sales permit.
correct.
And do I have a second?
Same.
Jerry seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. That then brings us to item 13, which is our ambulance report.
And
and-
Zach is giving that.
Oh, is that?
That's what I was told.
So short and sweet, because she never texted me.
Do you have a report first?
No, maybe not.
Do you want the report?
The financials.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah. As you can see in your packet, you got your financials in front of you, if you wanna take a look at that. The ambulance had 10 transport, or 10 calls service and 4 were transports, for the month of May. Any questions?
How are, you know how, the classes have been going?
They've been going real good, they, have 6 students, I wanna say. Yeah, cause one had to drop out, they did have 7, but then one had to drop out.
I see.
And they've been having that, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They just had they're having one right now, and then they have one Tuesday as well, at RDA,
When's that wrap up?
September.
Oh, man,
This is intense.
Yeah,
I think I would have dropped out too,
and yeah, again, it's all local stuff, or, and then everything.
which is great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Their bank account starting to look a lot nicer.
A lot better than what it was last year, that's.
So what's causing that, Zach?
Zach's not getting paid as much.
Yeah. Well, we were still a little over budget, or our budget's what's keeping us in, we, cut down on the overtime hours quite a bit.
Okay, so the way you're handling your, employee schedule.
Yeah. And that's not all of it, but.
No,
yeah.
but that
Yes,
still is
it's
one of your
helping.
largest expenditures.
Yeah,
Which I was gonna make mention, I don't know if that was a great time or not, but I had no idea, so what was it? What is today? Thursday? Tuesday, there was a situation where somebody really hurt their back really bad, and I had to go help them. And, we really didn't have a way to transport them or whatever, to get them out of the house and into the vehicle. And so I ran over to the ambulance barn, and I didn't realize they don't have even a simple wheelchair. And so that might be something we
We
might wanna,
have 2 upstairs.
oh, well, I didn't think, we ran over to Prairie Village, maybe thinking there was one by the front door or something, and there
Well, I'm not-
wasn't.
I mean, one can be taken to the ambulance shed.
Maybe we should do that.
yeah,
We've got 6 at Fall Drive.
Where were you guys?
Oh, Halloween.
I mean, you know,
We're all at 88, so.
But I just thought, and really, it's not that they needed to like take it or use the wheelchair, but it was for getting them down the stairs. And it's a lot easier when they're in a chair and somebody's in front, somebody's in the back, you know, you can go down the stairs, and we made it. It just took us quite a while, but yeah, I just thought, man, I should let the ambulance know. I mean, even for transport, she offered the chair, the stair chair or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could drive that thing, so I probably would have hurt her back worse. So, but I thought, yeah, maybe just having one
Yeah,
there.
I'll mention it.
Awesome, thank you.
and you say there's one upstairs.
We have
Two.
2 upstairs. Well, one might be upstairs and one down,
I think one in the printer's closet.
but we have 2 in the building.
One
So yes,
upstairs.
let's get one of those to the ambulance, obviously, they need that, and just remember, the Wall Drug has 6, really. And I also wanted to, say kudos to our public works, because the ambulance was having trouble with their back door for some reason, and they had repaired it. And I bet it's working really well now,
Let Trevor and Brandon take care of this.
so it was done very well, because you have a great crew. Okay.
Said you sealed the walls or something too underneath, because there's water getting through there.
Yeah, I think when it rains, it, comes from the north and hits and it runs down, so they see the ground floor. So hopefully, next time it rains, I'll have to check that.
Okay, anything on the ambulance? Okay, item 14, Chamber Director Report, the
So she just basically shared the
community.
rental calendar with you guys. That was all she had, and so I just kept it there, so this would be the time you could review it.
So once again, it looks like it's being used a lot, so Any questions on that? Economic Development Report, Rochelle.
Right. Good evening. All right, so, I have been steadily working on stuff for the fall because I know now is everybody's busy time and can't really get out to do classes and all that kind of stuff. So I will just keep talking about them until they happen, so people know and they can sign up for them. So you've probably heard this before, but I just want to make sure the information gets out there. So we have a leadership development class that we're gonna start on October 6th. And then it'll be monthly minus December. We've got, some presenters lined up for the first two classes and I'm working on the rest. They will go through April. They'll cover the Leadership Foundation, local and state leadership, agriculture leadership, professional development and public speaking, and then community and nonprofit leaderships. We'll do a special trip in April, we'll go to Day of Excellence, but in January, we'll go to the state legislature and watch some of the bills and stuff be passed and get that experience as well. I'm really excited about this leadership class. It's coming together really well. I think it's gonna be super informative and help kind of shape some of our new leaders and those that want to hone up their skills for our community. So if you know of anybody that's interested in that, please let me know so we can get them on the list and get them signed up. CDL training for experienced drivers will be in October. So the class is in October, but they need to do things before that. So, they need to get their CDL learner's permit. They need to register with Western Dakota Tech and have a driving skills assessment so they know which training class they'll be in and how much that training will cost. Because some may only need a day, some may need a week, some may need 4 weeks. And they'll determine that and do that. The fees include the driving test. So, you go through this class, when you get done, you should have your CDL license. This fall, we'll be having a grant writing class. The date is TBA right now because I'm working with the presenter on dates. It will be a 6-hour class, possibly separated in 2 days, Friday and a Saturday, instead of doing 6 hours solid. I'm really excited about that one too, because there are all sorts of grants out there that are not federal or state, private grants, but you still need to know how to write a grant. So, businesses can tap into that funding and help get some things set up for themselves. Apparently, most people know this, but I attended the Governor's Ag Summit. And I just have to share this because this never happens, but these are the name tags we got and they're just like, they're metal and it looks like a little belt. Usually it's just a paper one, but they're really cool. So I'm gonna keep this one. This summit was really informative, especially for me, because it gave me some good ideas on how I can help the ag community, because that is a large part of our community around here. So some of the things I heard about, Keep Farmers Farming Program, which is a succession transfer. They help farmers work through that succession process to the next generation. They prep them so that they can sit down and talk with lawyers and accountants and get all their affairs in orders and make that a smooth process, when to start having that conversation with their families, and how to get that all set up. And that was really informative, and I'm gonna look at maybe hosting that at one of our Coffee Connects for our ag community or any business, because all businesses need to think about that now as opposed to when you're like, I'm retiring in 2 years, it's too late. All right, I heard.
You don't mean that for you, though. That's just a comment you're making.
Yes,
Yes, I'm not going anywhere. So like I said, it was a lot of good information and I really think I can help bring that to the ag community because I'm trying to figure out how to bring them into that fold and be an asset to them as well. There was a lot of talk about tariffs as usual. And basically what came out of that is we're just gonna have to wait and see how that all worked out. I was like, that wasn't great. China is currently going to Central America for their beef, but they like to have more than one source. So hopefully they'll be coming back to American beef. There is a screw worm fly that is starting to migrate from Central America north, which is something that is concerning for ag because it breeds and feeds on warm-blooded animals. They had that eradicated in the late 60s, but that has been moving up. So they are doing that by breeding sterile flies so that when they lay eggs, they don't produce any, I know, very, very graphic, produce any more, but there's only one facility in Central America that makes it, and the federal government's working on a second one to get that underway, so, so we'll keep an eye on that, because that would be very detrimental to our cattle, what is that? For our cattle.
We
Yeah.
should all eat American beef.
We should all eat American beef, right? But they're trying to stop it at that southern border, but I think they've had a few in those lower states, outbreaks of it, so they're trying to get that under control. The cold does kill them, but you know, that they do come back in the summer, as we all know. All right, they need us and, everybody to reach out to the senators and congressmen to help stop the, Farm System Reform Act, which is a bill to stop large concentrated animal feeding operations. And it's so vague that that could mean this, you know, family farmer, and that kind of stuff. That's put together by animal activists like PETA and, the SBA, no, not the SBA. ASPCA, those guys, and they really would just like nobody to, I guess, raise cattle, but that's, you know, we also heard that most Americans and the next generation are really moving into protein and how that is healthy for them, so it's actually, the demand is increased, for that, and, so if you, see your congressman, make sure you talk to them and tell them to vote that down, because that would be very detrimental to this area. They partially pushed that through in Europe, and farmers had to kill thousands of cattle to kind of down-regulate that. The farmers pushed back, but we don't want to get to that point. So, keep an eye on that legislation and make sure your voice is heard. All right, so that's kind of what I took out of the Ag Summit. I also attended an EDPA, which is the Economic Development Association for South Dakota, legislative upstate. For next year, they're gonna continue to work on that child care bill that will help care workers that have kids. If they're under a certain income level, get supplements so that they don't have to make the decision to leave the workforce and stop caring for other people's kids so they can go home and care for theirs. So keep them in there. And then there was a lot of talk about data centers and the sales and use tax, which they're gonna present that again. And they ran through the numbers on it, and it was just astounding how much money those data centers bring into the communities. The amount that is rebated to them for their equipment that they buy, and then, you know, because it's computers, you have to update those every so often. That money is a small fraction of the money that comes back into the community through, the utilities they use, the tax revenue that you get, the property tax, revenue that and these data centers are supporting the communities and rebuilding the communities and investing in the communities and helping improve them. And the communities that actually have these data centers in them, because they're such big power drawers, they are footing most of that bill, so a lot of the community, is getting their power bills actually lowered because it's all evening out, so, I push for that, so I ask for you guys to push for that. So that is what I have been working on, and like I said, I'm really excited for these classes in the fall. And I will be reaching out to some of you. I'd like some of you to be on my local government panel for my leadership class. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, okay? That is what I have. Any questions for me? No, John. All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Okay, item 16, Pandora's Box LLC, the Honey Bunnies LLC. This is a transfer, Karen.
Yes, so this is Jackalopes Corner down the street. The business is still Jackalopes Corner, but they're running the liquor license. It was under Pandora's Box, but they switched it to Honey Bunnies LLC. And the Department of Revenue contacted me when I submitted their renewal license, that they would require a liquor license transfer, even though it's the same owners, it's under a different business name. So this is basically just needs to be approved. I've got the paperwork ready. They've signed it, and I will send that along to the Department of Revenue for that transfer, but it does have to be approved by the council.
Okay, Sherry has moved.
What is it, Carolyn, what does the license,
It's a malt beverage, South Dakota farm wine, and
oh, so mainly to sell farm wine?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Jerry has moved to approve the liquor license transfer,
Second.
and Zach has seconded. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 17, Carolyn.
A couple of months ago, I think it was, some people came down, they're out of Rapid, that have the Pi Barker Fire and Safety. So they, check out our fire, extinguishers. And Garrett helped them go around and look at all our buildings to see what we had, and they gave us a quote. We did have somebody currently doing it for us, but I thought it wouldn't hurt to get a quote from a new company. They came back, and so, it is a little higher, but they're actually doing more for us. So they, the previous company doesn't even look at our panels for the fire, what do I call them?
Depression.
Yeah, right. These guys would, so their quote was like $500 difference. And then also part of this was the transfer station, inspection on the
Fire suppression.
fire suppression too.
Okay.
Which we have a different company that does that for us, and so that's like a $2,000 cost is what we do annually. So it seemed like a win-win to drop the 2,000 charge that we're getting to do that when these guys will do it, and also check our fire panels for $500 more. So I don't need approval really on it because it's not at the amount that requires that, but I just wanted to let you know that that was what we were going to be moving towards, so you would be aware of that. And then just wanted to give you a little bit of a conference update. Some of the sessions that we had were the records retention and management, and the people with the state archives was there giving us that information. So when I can get some time, I'm going to go out and check out their website to get additional information about that. The clerk with Brookings was there and spoke on their processes for their council meetings. And so with my notes and looking back on that, I may look at implementing some of them as well that she does different because it might be more efficient. So I'll check into that. There was a session on the liquor licensing, and some of the points that they made in filling out the application that gets missed a lot by when people renew them, gave me some ideas that I need to maybe implement them in the letter that I send out to highlight them to the people so they aren't forgotten each time. So I'll be looking at doing that. I attended a session on the property tax and tips, which I think you've heard a lot, how the property tax is going to be at a 3% increase, not just whatever they want to be, but that doesn't mean that's countywide 3%, as they've said each time. And that also she covered on the tips. So they're leaving the tips out of that calculation, which we don't have here in town, but others do, which I think might kind of hurt some of those communities, because once those tips drop off, I just don't know how that formula is going to look for the new growth and stuff, but it was an interesting session. And then there was an open meeting law, and the Assistant Attorney General was giving us that information. The one thing that was commented, the open meeting brochure, which we reviewed at our meeting in May, our first meeting in May, when we review all the other annual things that need to be done. So we did that to get it on our calendar, but they suggested, and this law isn't in effect until after July 1st or July 1st. They suggested we do it again because there may be some changes to the brochure. So I will be getting that on the agenda, and actually probably more towards the end of the year, like in November or something, because next month, I don't know that those changes are going to happen in that brochure at that time. So I want to give them time, but we do need to review that. That's not a proper word, but, and then also one other thing that I picked up from that is they commented, when you do go into executive session and you, reference the SDCL 1-25-2 and the reason that you're going, instead of just saying like 1, they suggest that you say after 1 personnel or 5 marketing, that you comment the verbiage as well, just so for clarification. So those are the things that I picked up on, and I will let Katie give any information that she shared from the conference and then also the pool update.
Let's see, what I picked up on the conference was that I have a lot to learn. So it was really good. I learned a lot, but it was a lot of information that was thrown at me in a very short amount of time, but it was good and, also met a lot of people and the networking seemed like it was a really, really great thing. And some people I kind of had already met just through emails and things. So it's always good to put a face with names and yeah, it was lots of good information and everybody was really nice and helpful. So it was good. And then, pool update. Let's see. So Garrett will know a little bit more. I see he's got that underneath his report too. He's already glaring at me over there. So, swimming lessons seem like they're going okay. I think the WASP lessons that are coming up next week are just about, we got sessions that are full. So that's good to see. I did just right before the meeting, put out a firm, strong reminder of some pool rules because, I heard that today was a very, very busy pool day. There were like 50 kids up there, which is great. It was hot out. I'm sure it was the day for the pool, but we just need to really push a strong reminder that kids under the age of 8 have to have supervision or they will be sent home. And lifeguards can do that. Anybody, you know, over the 8 or anybody under the age of 8 can be there with a 12-year-old or older. But that person isn't a sibling that's there to play with their friends. That person is a person designated to watch them. So I would assume, I wasn't here then, but I would assume that that rule was put into place so that like a child babysitter could go to the pool with them. And it wasn't just restricted to a child being watched by their parent. But I kind of feel like if it, you know, continues, then we'll have to, you know, change things. But anyways, but it was good. It's good to see the pool being busy and, we just want to make sure that all the rules get followed so it doesn't, everybody has a fun time and no accidents happen. So, yeah, so I put a reminder out on Facebook. So if anybody sees it, that's why we just need to make sure that everybody's being safe. So other than that, that's as much as I know. I'm sure Garrett will have more fun things on the pool.
Cool, that brings us to Garrett.
Well, we'll start with Second Avenue. Today they paved Second Avenue and Creighton. Both streets are closed tonight. They can go on Creighton, they can go around the bike path that we made. So it should be all done tomorrow afternoon, ready to open up, and it looks really good. So if you guys get a chance tomorrow afternoon. Todd and his crew did a good job.
And Ted's been down and expected to inspect that true also.
Yep.
Okay.
And the pool. Well, the sewer line, the service, it has 2 sewer lines, one where you can drain the pool into the sewer and then the service line to the bathrooms. It plugged Friday. And they didn't get a hold of me till later, so I got a hold of theirs. And they showed up, couldn't be there till Tuesday, and so they snaked it. Couldn't get through, cambered it, there's too much stuff in there, so they could see what's going on, so now we're digging it up to see what's going on. So that's where we're at there.
Taking it, peeing the pool, right?
That's right. Go to the park, you can never do that. That's an idiot.
Sorry.
So that means the showers, right, are not
Yeah.
working up there. That's okay. I was wondering, Jen asked, Jen down at Watts had said that they were closed up, so, okay.
It's really huge. But anyways, and then also when we opened the pool, the heaters weren't working. So we called to get somebody to come down and look at those. That was on like a Thursday and they're supposed to be there Monday, but the one guy didn't show up for work, and then Tuesday hurt his back, and so hopefully we'll have someone tomorrow, but the water's at 80 degrees on its own, so that's usually where we keep the temperature at. So,
Refreshing.
yeah, swimming lessons, I think last the week before were a little rough, but not much else I can do. Let's see. Fireworks are scheduled for July 5th. They'll start at dusk. As far as I know, we'll be out at the golf course. They didn't have anything on it or anything to the north of there, so I think we should be able to, and I think the hay was cut. So I think we should be good to have fireworks this year,
Do you know when Phillips is?
the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, we always do ours the day before, the day after, because Philip sets ours off. Pretty excited, we got 3 12-inchers. Let's see, and then the other night, I got a call that the sink in the kitchen was leaking. So we went to fix that, and it looked like it had just fallen apart, and after looking, we found out that all 3 of the drains were actually cracked or rusted, so they were all leaking, so we ended up replacing all 3 of those. We got that done just in time for the, what were they, the soil,
Everything
Grasslands.
published, or?
or,
National Grasslands Coalition.
yeah, just in time for them to cook those guys lunch, so. Let's see, what else?
Foggy.
Fogging, I will fog tonight. We've been putting the little briquettes out. I just ask that everybody helps, check the property, check your rain gutters. Anything that holds water. The mosquitoes can hatch in it, so just check that too. Let's see.
They are out and about.
Yes, they are. And I don't know, everybody's been calling me about the dogs situations, the dogs running around town, and we've got like 20 of them this week. Hopefully it's situations under control. There was 3 dogs running loose around town for the last week or so. And hopefully I got that taken care of.
Were they residence dogs?
I saw a couple of them on the boulevard about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
2
Okay, yeah.
a white one and another one. Medium-sized dogs.
Are they registered?
What's that?
Are they
License.
registered?
License.
License?
So, and of course, they see me coming in and take off. No matter if I have snacks or not.
The dog or the owners.
Well, the owner doesn't answer the door or the phone. Let's see, then in your packet, you should have pictures of the signs. I went to some of the signs. This is for Main Street to try and put that over with vehicles off of Main Street and trying to direct campers, semis and buses to utilize the parking lots to the west. He came up with 3 ideas, what to use. I kind of like option D. I don't know what you guys think.
Me too, Garrett. I like D too.
And so they are $360 a piece, but they're 3 foot by 4 foot. So they should see them. And I don't think we need 6. I just kind of need to look and see, some spots it's not gonna do any good to put them because by now I've already went through and figured that out.
Garrett, how does the arrow work?
So that would point, just depending on which side of the street, that would point them to go to the west, either to our big parking lot or the Waldron parking lot back
Sure.
behind. So,
yeah, it's left and right arrows and.
yep, just depending on the location, and hopefully they understand that those vehicles that are over 18 feet should go that direction. I've been noticing.
You
a
have
lot
one
of
of those like they have on a fair ride, if you're this tall, you can't. And I think there's some people that don't think they're that big.
Oh, no, they go through that pier to the railroad. I have it so much, they have a camera.
Did they hit that?
Oh, yeah, there's campers that go underneath that all the time. Yeah. They even have a flashing light on it, I think.
They do.
But,
They have a Facebook page on it too.
but anyways, and, you know, and then I don't know. Somebody's complained to me and I've seen it twice just today. That somebody was coming down the wrong side of the street in front of the Harley building. Like, I just don't know. What to do, but people are just gonna. Have to be patient and let them go by
It
or
doesn't
whatever.
happen very often, does it?
I just, I've never seen it before, but
I
it was
haven't.
twice. I've never seen it over there before. I've always seen it over here.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
but not down there, but
Usually,
Down Fourth Avenue, they'll come down and make the turn too late and they come up the bankside.
you know. But so hopefully this, one of these signs will,
Do you want us to take a vote, and see which one we like the best?
sure,
What do you guys
that
think?
way we can.
I'm
guard
sure.
on
Yeah,
that.
likes D, I'd say
yeah, I like
B or D, are you saying?
D. D dog, the last one.
All right,
And then I will have to take other signs down, you know, cause some say parking with an arrow. And I think that's who we wanna direct to park over there, so. And then just kind of move some signs. See if that works, and if that doesn't work, try something.
speed bumps.
Yeah, those would work.
With your fogging, you go on to the baseball field and fog out there too, if you usually do.
I can, yeah,
There was that out there on Monday when we were doing games.
the bad thing about that is the gigantic field to the east is full of water.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can go out there and just fog and kill what's there, but I will, yep. And I'll hit the rodeo grounds for the circus. Tomorrow
Right, yeah, tomorrow night,
night at 6, so yes, I will go out there too.
Thank you.
Yep. And then we cleaned up the mess at the transfer station. They hauled everything off, the roll-off's gone. Got a few people that have called me about it. I think we'll be all right, as long as people stay calm.
Have you had any more people dump? The, awesome.
Well, I put a sign that said no dumping and
That don't mean
a
no.
rope across.
Yeah.
They did though, finish filling up the half-full dumpster the night that we blocked it off, but. So, and I think, I mean, eventually, maybe we need to figure something out too, like if we have a roll off there, it's gonna cause more work for us, you know, to go down there, but we charge people and they got a bigger couch or something they won't take, we can have that roll off in there once it's full.
keep it inside the.
Yes,
Okay, that's just what-
and you know, and then that way,
Great.
once it's full, then we can police it and they can charge and they can come dump it.
So that is a great segue then, because actually we have an opportunity to work with Kiefer's too, to have a curbside pickup. And, the residents would, if you had something too large for your tote, you could call the Kiefer office and schedule that. You would pay with your debit or your credit card. And they would actually pick it up for you then in the next, or the day that your regular pickup is. So they do need 24 hours notice. And, so we will be promoting that through the newspapers, our social media, and, a small, code red to let people know that. So they can take extra bag trash, small furniture items, appliances that don't have any freon, broken down boxes. They will not take ammunition, asbestos, ashes, fluorescent lights, compost, concrete, or contaminated soil, electronics, hazardous waste, medication, scrap metal, sharps or needles, tires, no kitty litter or dog waste, wood waste or yard waste. So they're kind of particular, but they will pick it up, but you'll have to charge it to your credit or your debit. So look for more information about that in the very near future. Also, we've been alerted that we will be getting a grant to design the apron for the taxi line at the airport. Good news is they've changed the feds. Amazing enough, we're gonna do 95% of it, the state 2.5 and the local 2.5, so that's dropped for what we usually, what our costs usually are. So that will be coming soon, but Travis Hershey just made us aware of that just a few days ago, so we're pretty excited about that. Then Carolyn provided me with a documentation that Echo Valley, those lots have paid the city $161,987. That's their 30% of each one that is sold. There's been 11 sold. There's 25 lots out there, so they have some spoken for, but they just at this point have not paid for them. With that being said, there still is one governor's home available on Dorothy, and it's 219,000. So if anyone felt like they are in need of a home and would like to explore that, contact that realtor. Okay, moving right on then, our next, oh, no, items for discussion and no action will be taken. Does anyone have any items? All right.
Has there been a meeting with plan and zoning? I see there's one coming up on the community center.
Yes, and it's another segue. We need a special meeting with the council on June 27th at 9 o'clock because that planning and zoning. But that is going to be in reference specifically for the rezone for the individual that needs to go from commercial to highway commercial out here on exit 109. So that will specifically be addressed. And then we will schedule another one to talk about some of the other items that are on our case. But this one is kind of front and center to help this individual or this business get up and going because it's that time of year and they need that building, but it's a joint meeting. So planning and zoning will meet, and right after that, the city council will meet to make that approval or denial, depending on what your opinion is on the situation. Okay,
What time?
9 o'clock in the morning,
Bless you.
okay? Okay, we will spend,
Going on.
it should not take very long, but for sure, we will need a quorum of the city council. Okay, that brings us then to item number 22, which is talking about the next city council meeting, which will be July 17th at 6:30. Remember, we're only having one meeting that month. And that will be July 17th at 6:30. And the day of that, is that a Thursday?
That's a Thursday.
Yes, okay. I want to double check and stuff. Okay, item number 23. We received some concern forms, however, from what Carolyn learned at her workshop, do you want to explain why we're addressing this differently then?
Well, I just feel that is covered under section 6 in executive session. I guess Nathan could give his opinion if he feels differently, but I don't think you should be bringing up people's names in open session minutes.
Okay, relative to who it concerns or who's submitting it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Maybe
What's the concern form? What,
concerning people's properties.
okay, so, it's like the citizen has made a complaint about a neighbor or their property in town.
Several.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being, said, could I have a motion to move into executive session?
I make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal personnel issues regarding the SDCL 1-25-2 property. What else, Carolyn?
Probably one for a update on personnel,
And one,
for an update on.
and one.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Zach is seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, does everyone need a quick break or can we move? Okay, I will declare us out of executive session, move on to item number 25 to take actions. Do we have a action that we want to take regarding the concern forms?
Yes, I make a motion that, we respond, to the properties that the concern forms were written about and ask them if they can, improve them and tidy them up a bit and remove or license any abandoned, any not unlicensed cars.
Okay, so Rick has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mike has seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, do we have any other action?
I make a motion that we terminate the lease agreement between the city of Wall and Kiefer Sanitation on the transfer station.
Okay, Dan has moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to terminate the lease agreement with Kiefer's regarding the transfer station. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Carolyn, do you have anything to mention? Yeah.
I forgot to mention in my report, to remind you all that there is an elected officials workshop that the South Dakota Municipal League puts on every year in July, and that will be July 16th and 17th. It's a 2-day workshop this year. And so there is room reservations you can get. Let me know if you want to attend and I'll get you registered.
You won't be at the 17th meeting.
Well, it gets done at noon or at
Awesome.
morning, so you'd be able to get back at night.
Possibly.
Okay. Is there any other that has to come? Seeing none, then I adjourn the meeting.
Not bad.